All right, it's the 27th of March. It's a Thursday, and we've got just under 30 minutes to the NY Open. Let's just check if sound is good. Yeah, all good. Okay, so let's start with the calendar. Yeah, start with the calendar. So today we've got news in about almost an hour from now, about 55 plus minutes from now. We're going to wait for that to take before we take any trades because that's 8:30 a.m. EST is news. So it doesn't make sense in trying to take any trades at around 8:15 a.m. EST because that's I wait always. If you've been on my streams, then you've always seen me wait for the first uh, NY Open 15-minute candle to close before I decide to take a trade, at least for the first 15-minute candle to close, to see if there is a possible setup, right? So if there is news at 8:30 a.m. EST, 15 minutes after that, then it makes sense just to wait for another 15 minutes before taking any trades, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so let's look at the high time frames, right? So this is what we anticipated, in fact, since last Friday, right? So if you were here on the streams last Friday, I said there are possible two scenarios that we're going to leave a small weekly candle wick or a big weekly candle wick to be filled, right? And that's what we did. We left a big weekly candle wick to be filled, and it's filled now, right? The fill happened, started yesterday during the second half of the NY session, and I did share trade setup for the buys, and they did play out. We're going to take a look at that a little later. Sorry, excuse my voice. I'm just fighting I think a common flu, so my voice and my throat's a bit off today. Okay, so on the daily, so on the weekly, we've done what a price has kind of done. A price has done what it showed us that it would do. Right? It left a big weekly wick to be filled, and it filled it. This week, it's filled that wick. Right? We've come back up to 3050. We've tapped it, and we're trading, in fact, just above it right now. So so on the weekly time frame. It's done the job. It's done exactly what it showed us that it could do this week. It's already done it. So we don't have any more information on the weekly because we're coming to the end of the week and the end of the month as well, right? This I would consider the last week of the month because next week, even though there are a couple of days left for the month next week is considered the first week of the month because it's NFP week. Okay. So let's go drop down to the daily time frame. I'm going to take the analysis a little bit slow today because we have plenty of time, right? We're going to wait until 8:30 a.m. EST to look for setups, so there's plenty of time. So on the daily, we've had a massive bullish candle, right? That kind of move started yesterday, but today we've had a massive move up, which is about almost a 400 pip move up. We've tapped 350 and we're trading above it. And this was the move that we expected to happen yesterday, and it happened yesterday in the second half of the NY session, right? So on the daily time frame, we got to wait for the candle to close. Until the candle closes today, we don't know what could happen. Are we going to reject 3050 yet again because it's done it once? Is it going to do it? It's done it twice, in fact. It did it here. It did it here. And it also did it here. So it's done it. It's done it. It's done. It's rejected 3050 three times, right? So is it going to reject for the fourth time and push back down probably tomorrow, or are we going to continue higher to 3100 to 3100? We'll only know after the daily candle closes, right? And tomorrow, since it's the end of the week, we're going to be looking for a kind of a weekly wick slash pullback trade. We're going to be looking for that, right? So if you've been here on the streams continuously on Fridays, we anticipate, just like we did last week, we anticipate how the weekly candle is going to close, right? and we're going to anticipate what the daily candle would be like, and then look for a trade on the low time frames, which is the 30-minute or the 15-minute time frame, right? Let me repeat that. If you've been here on the streams over the last few weeks, you'll see that on Fridays, we anticipate, we predict how the weekly candle will close, right? And then, depending on how the weekly candle will close, I say how the daily candle is going to play out then, right? And then we look for a low time frame trade on the 15-minute, 30-minute time frame. Now, we do the same thing on the monthly time frame if the last day of the week is also the last day of the month. That's happened a couple of times, I think, maybe twice. It doesn't happen often where the last day of the month is also the last day of the week. It's surely not happening. It's surely not happening this month, but maybe in the future it might probably happen again, and then we'll be we'll do that as well. It's the same thing. It's the same principles, right? Okay, so let's go to our trading chart. Just a second before we do that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So before we draw zones, let's take a look at what happened. The trade that we took yesterday during the session, during the streams, and the setup that I did share. Okay. So we took sells, and they played out beautifully. They dropped. I think I got out around just under 3020, somewhere just here in between 3019 and 3020, or somewhere here. And that was a nice move. I got in here. That was a 92 plus pip move down, and price continued, went through the liquidity candle. Why? Because price had come deep into it. I spoke about this, right? We have come deep into, that's a 38 pip candle. Price had come previously 24 pips into it, so price had grabbed the liquidity in that candle, so we went right through. And then once we go through this, what did I say would happen? I said it would go to the next liquidity candle, right? And that's exactly what we did. We dropped another 30 pips, went to the 35 pips, went to the next liquidity candle, right? Because once we break this, if price doesn't give you a 30-minute tradable, if price doesn't create 30-minute support with a tradable 30-minute bull candle closing, then it's going to go to the next liquidity candle, and that's exactly what it did. This candle is not a tradable candle, though it created 30-minute support. It went down to the next, tapped it, and then after that we had a perfect tradable 30-minute candle close, and then you can take the pullback from here, stops under there, or for safer stop loss would be under the liquidity candle, or to be more aggressive, you can take it under that, and look at that move up. Perfect move up, right? Back to 3050. I said that would be the area that we're targeting. If you watch the first 30 minutes of yesterday's stream, I said the move is up. It's going to be a bullish move, and we're heading towards 3050. I said this area is not going to hold again because prices has come there several times in the past. This was, I think, the first, second, third time it came. Yeah, this was the third time price came here, and it broke right through, and then it came to this. Yeah, it came to this liquidity candle, and if you heard me in the past, I've said this, that whenever there are two liquidity candles above each other, next to each other, touching each other, two liquidity candles, right? Two liquidity zones. Uh, those prices, very likely there's an 80% chance that price will go through both of them. Why? Because the reason that they are there is because price has tapped them on the way down. So we had this liquidity candle, price has come up, tapped it, and then gone down, right? The moves happen. So when price comes back in, because of the momentum that it's coming with, right? It's very likely going to break both of them. That's exactly what happened. Price did break both of them. And now we're trading just above them, above 3050. Okay? So if you were to take that trade, let's just, it happened, I said it would happen uh, between 11:30, I said up to 11:30, up to about 11:30 a.m. EST. So around 11:30 a.m. to even 12 noon EST, right? I said it's going to happen later on, after the about 2.5 hours after the NYSE open, and that's exactly what happened. We had 30-minute support form here. So once this support is formed, this candle closed at 19:30 IC market server time. So if you go down to the 15-minute time frame, how I didn't take the trade, but how I would have taken the trade is, so this is the 30-minute candle close. You look for previous to the most recent two M15 low breaks. This one broke this, and then this one broke this, right? So how you would draw, let's get rid of that. How you would draw the fib is from the most recent one that broke to the lowest low there. That's how you would draw it. And look at that, price came in perfect, but came very close to 3015. That's a great entry, because you would have your stop loss just under your stop loss just under that, which is about a 30 pip stop loss. That would be perfect. And then you'd be targeting not this liquidity candle, but this one up here, because this one has been tapped heavily. So we've been targeting 3042, and that's where I'd put the TP at, right? I'd put the TP at 3042, and after 3042 would be 3050, right? So 3042 got tapped during, I think, the just after the London session today, and no, yeah, it got tapped after the London session today, and then we eventually went on and tapped 3050, right? Let's get rid of all of this and let's start with today's analysis. One second. Okay. I think we're good here. Yeah. All right. So price is back at all-time highs. So there is no supply except for this current supply that we have here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just extend that to the right to start with, because that's where price is sitting right now, and there is no supply above it. Okay, this is also no longer a high liquidity zone because prices come deep into it. We're very likely going to break that. Let's see. We're coming there for I think the first time on the 4 hour. We're going to see what's going to happen there, right? We might have a bit of a pullback today. Let's start with our demand now, because there's no supply. All right, we got demand right about here. Yeah, it's a wide zone. And I'll explain. Okay, so price ranged here a lot, okay? And this candle would be the leg in, right? So I always say whenever, sorry, just give me a second. I always say whenever there's a lot of candles, possible candles, and it's a bit confusing on how exactly you should draw the zone, work backwards. Find the leg out. The biggest candle moving up with a lot of volume is this one. It's not these two. You can see this one has been pushed down, back down, right? But this one is clear. Out of these three, this is the best looking leg out candle, right? So start there. Then work backwards and look at the base. Okay, if this is a range, yes, it is. This is candles closing side by side. From this one all the way up here is just a range. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 candles in that range, right? And then this would be the leg in there, right? Because that's all fits in one block, and this would be the leg in, right? So let's put the price level there. 2054. Okay. Okay. That's a wide zone. It's a 180 pip zone. It's very wide zone. Let's see if we can break that down into a couple of 1 hour zones. Not really. No, we're gonna have to stick with the 1 4. Yeah. Let's bring this down so it doesn't overlap. 1054. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. I don't think we're going to drop all the way down. Let's just extend this last zone, maybe for later on. Okay, so we are a 4 hour zone here. Um, yeah, prices come. I think the zone was somewhere there. Yeah, we haven't crossed the 50% market, so let's keep that label there. Let's keep this here. Let's keep this here. Okay. Let's just extend these to the right. Okay, so we have a 4 hour supply here. For supply, and we got a new 4 we got a new 4 demand zone here, right? So that's what we have in terms of zones for the NY session. Let's go down. Let's now sorry. Sorry, I didn't think my my throat would be this bad today for the streams. um, yeah, so now let's see, let's check if these are high liquidity zones. Now this one was, it isn't anymore because prices come deep into it, right? But this one here, yes, it is, because we've taken out all of this supply, this drop based drop, this rally based drop. It's all been taken out by this move up, especially this one here and this one here. Not so much this one. This was taken out by this move up here, all right? But on the 4 it's pretty obvious that this price came down and this move up, took out this supply, took out this high, and took out this high, right? It's making this a high liquidity zone. Okay, right. Now the next thing is we're going to see, we're going to look for, we're going to take a look at the zone again because price is inside it, right? We're going to look for to see how if that liquidity candle, how is it been, how deep it's been tested into, right? And does it still have, could it have a bit of volume in it yet, right? We're going to take a look at that. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame. Let's look for the largest bearish candle here. So that's 71.83 and 73. All right, let's mark this one for now. Okay, let's go down to go to 30-minute time frame. Okay, we've got this 66 pips, 64, 63. Not that. 63. Let's go to the 15-minute. It's possibly this one. 56, 60. 60, 55, 45. Yeah, it's that candle right there. And price has gone through it. 296, 692. Yeah, we've gone through it. There's no liquidity there. 296, what was it? 692. Let's take a look at the 5-minute quickly. That's not that. $55. Yeah, it's that candle. We have to do the numbers on this. $6.38. Yeah. Yeah, it's this one. 53.30. Okay. Perfect. Right. We've gone through it. Okay, we've gone through it. We're very bullish. It's probably fundamental news, something to do with the tariffs. I think there was some news yesterday during the NY session. Trump had said something, and this is to do with this is fundamental news pushing price up. Just clean up the chart. Okay, 2 minutes to the NY open, but we're going to wait until 8:30 a.m. EST. All right, let's take a look at this new 4-hour zone that we have here, and let's look for the largest liquidity candle there, right? So there's this one on the 1 hour, that's 108 pips. There's also this, which is 111 pips. Yeah, that would be the largest so on the time frame. Let's go down to the 30-minute. $76. 88. This one here on the 30-minute. Let's look at the 15-minute. 51. Yeah, this one. Yeah. It's this 30-minute candle. That's the 74. Oh, interesting. There's this 103 pip move up. Yeah, I would go with this. That's a clean move up. That's clean volume. Look at the 5-minute. That's clean. 103 pips straight up on the 5-minute time frame with no selling at all. So that's a sign of volume. That's what you're looking for. So that's visible. That's on the 30-minute. That's the candle. So the choice was right. Let's put the numbers on this. 418550. Okay. And the weekly SR level runs right through it and it's tapped it. So that's perfect. That's correct. Okay. Let's take a look at this area on the 1 hour because price has moved quite a bit away. There's nothing on the 4 because of the because of the volume. There are big 4 candles pushing up. But on the 1 hour, there is this bit here. 30-minute. I'm going to mark this area. Yeah. I'm just going to mark it, but yeah, this is how I'm going to mark it. I'm going to mark it like this. I'm going to mark this 1 hour zone here, right? So that's a leg in, 1, 2, 3, 4 base in candles, and the leg out, right? And then this is the tap of that demand zone and pushed up. That's 1 hour demand. The reason I'm marking that is prices just come off this weekly SR level and created a base and then pushed up. I always say this: when prices passing through or coming off, whatever you want to call it, a weekly SR level or a BRN, go down to the lower time frame and inspect that area. There very likely is a reason or there's a zone there. Price creates a zone at it or sometimes under it or above it, and that's what I see here. On the 1 hour, it's not visible on the 4 hour, but on the 1 hour, it's clear there is a rally, 4 base-in candles, and a rally. So we're going to use that. We're going to mark that out. We can't ignore it. 34.03. I'll take the close. 411. Low 673. 411 673. And then we bring this down. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and let's take a. So this is a 1 hour demand zone. Yeah, perfect. We're going to take a look at this area and see if there's a high liquidity candle in here. On the 1 hour, it's this candle, 74 pips. Go down to 30-minute. It's that candle, 71 pips. Yeah, this candle right here. Let's go to the 15-minute. 56. Interesting. 95. 85. Yeah, I'm going to use this candle on the 30-minute time frame. Let's use that. 70 pip candle. 668, 968. Exactly 70 pips. 70 pip candle. All right. And this 1 hour zone, yeah, this move up has taken out this supply here, making this also a high liquidity zone, right? Okay, that's it. That's the analysis. Let me just zoom out a bit. For those who want to take a screenshot, uses in your analysis. Okay, so we're very bullish. Let's just save this. I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and then we're going to take a look at what price has done in the Asian and London sessions today. All right. Obviously, it's been bullish. Price has been very bullish, Asian and London. But we're going to take a look at the Asian highs, the Asian lows, London highs, London lows, and have an idea what price could possibly do today in the NY, in the first couple of hours of the NY session. Okay. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Sorry. Okay, let's go to the 50-minute time frame. See where the market opened, right here. Yeah, that's the market open. So the market opened at 3017, roughly 3017.5. Okay, now 736. Two. Okay. So these are the Asian lows, the Asian London lows, and the Asian London highs. Okay. So in the Asian session, we moved roughly about 100 pips, 108, 109 pips. And in the London session, we moved again about a similar move, about 110 pips, right? And then after that, we moved to double the amount, 200 pips, the second half of the London session, outside of the London Open. Outside of the London Open, we've moved another 200 pips, right? So all in all, in the London session, we moved about 290 pips. Yeah. Yeah, this is outside the London Open, so I can't take this high. Okay, so let's look at what happened. We've got another 14 minutes to news. Let's look at what has happened. The market was bullish. We spoke about this. We created 30-minute support. Yesterday, second half of invite session, we were very bullish. Price grab liquidity. That's a liquidity wick. You can see that on the 30-minute as yeah, on the 30-minute as well. You can see the liquidity wick. It's a 37, 38 pip wick. Visible on the 15-minute. Very clear on the 15-minute. 51 pip wick, a liquidity wick. Grab liquidity from this zone here. There was a liquidity candle there. A 15-minute liquidity candle grabbed liquidity, created 30-minute support, and was pushing up. So the market opened here, and because of the bullish volume, we pushed past 3023, right? The market opened, ranged a bit, because we're very bullish, because we had grab liquidity, that's a liquidity wick, we pushed past 3023. Went up, created the Asian high, so we created the Asian low here, pushed up, created the Asian high, came down, retested grab liquidity from 3023 and pushed past the Asian high and went higher, right? Came down for more liquidity because we're very bullish again, came down for more liquidity, created the London low, grab liquidity very close to the EMA, right? Didn't touch it, a couple of pips, yeah, just a few pips, 2, 3, 4 pips, right, away, created the London low, went back up to this high, yeah, went back up to this high, tested the high, closed above that high, created the London high, pulled down a bit, didn't need to pull back to the EMAs because there's a lot of bullish volume. So that is why the swing high is not that deep, right? Price didn't swing down too much. It didn't need to. It didn't need to pull back. It didn't need to retrace to grab liquidity because it's already done that. Because that's a liquidity grab, so there's a lot of bullish volume already. Whenever you see a liquidity grab from a liquidity candle, and you see a liquidity wick, especially, then price has grabbed a lot of liquidity, right? So it moved up, didn't need to come back to the EMAs, push past, closed above the London high, and then continued all the way up to the liquidity candle and 3050, and went through that liquidity candle, right? Now price is above that liquidity candle. We're trading above it. We should be pushing towards 3,100, right? Because there is no information on the left. We don't know where price is going to reverse. It can reverse anywhere. It can go up, pull back, it can stop and pull back from any point because we have no information to the left. So what can we expect? 30-minute time frame. We've rejected form 30-minute resistance. We've closed above, closed back below. If a 30-minute candle closes back below 3050, a tradable 30-minute candle. This was pre-NY. This was before pre-NY. So we're going to ignore that. We're going to ignore this 30-minute resistance, right? Because it was formed before pre-NY. So I'm going to ignore that. Sorry. Um, yeah, I'm struggling today with my voice. Uh, if So we got to wait for 30-minute resistance to create, for price to come down. If we are to take sells down, we can, because there's clean space all the way down. That's a 125, at least a 125 pip drop to come back here if price needs to, right? It doesn't need to. Have we tapped the liquidity candle? We haven't tapped the liquidity candle in the London session. Yeah, we haven't. No, so we can. Price can come down to tap the liquidity candle before heading up again. It can. It depends on how much volume has been collected to push up, right? Because if this was if you're very bullish and this liquidity grab yesterday was enough from this, then it doesn't need to come back here. It can just continue higher, right? Until we get somewhere here and then pull back. So taking a sell trade here is a counter trend trade. All right, there's nothing wrong with counter trend trades. You just have to be very careful. You've got to wait for confirmations, right? So the confirmations I'm looking for is this. I'm looking for 30-minute resistance to form. We haven't formed 30-minute resistance yet. 30-minute resistance needs to form, and it has to be a tradable 30-minute back handle. A tradable 30-minute back handle needs to close, not just a doji. It can't form a doji. It can't be like this. This can form resistance, but a tradable 30-minute candle has to close. A back handle has to close, and preferably we have a close below 3050, a close below that, right? After 30-minute resistance at form, at least a 15-minute close below this. If not a 30-minute, then at least a 15-minute. Tradable 15-minute back candle close, not a doji again. Tradable 15-minute, 15-minute or 30-minute back candle close below this. Now, a 30-minute back candle has to close, forming resistance. And then I need to see a tradable 30-minute candle close, either with resistance or after it. And then that candle or the next candle needs to close below 3050 to take sells, to come down, right? That's what I'm looking for. For buys, I want price to we've created support already, but that has no bottom wick, so we are going to come down. So once price comes down, this is not going to hold. Price is going to come down and tap below this. So once we break this low, I want to see price create 30-minute support to push up. Now price is trending heavy, so even 15-minute support should be good, as long as that 15-minute support is a tradable 15-minute bull candle close, not a doji. A tradable 15-minute bull candle close, I'm willing to take buys to go up because it's a very strong bull trend. It's a very strong bullish market, okay? So I'm willing to look for 15-minute support. It's very rare. I look for 15 or a 15-minute support resistance only when there is a lot of volume like this, right? Otherwise, it's always better. It's always better. Even in a situation like this, it's always better to wait for 30-minute support or resistance to close to take trades. It's always better. It's always advisable. It's always safer. Um, it's good practice to have in your trade plan to wait for 30-minute support or resistance to form to take a trade if you're a session trader, right? So about 5.5 minutes for the 30-minute candle to close. We're going to wait for this candle to close. That will also be news. And let's see, I think we are coming down. If we close below here, if this candle closes strong, then we can take sells to come down. Stop loss would be above this candle high, right? But you'll have to get in, get out very quickly. I don't think we are going to hold. We might come up down here. It's about 100 pip move down here. You'd want to get out somewhere there. Yeah, this is where you want to get out. Um, Around 3042. 3042 is where you want to get out. If you do take sells, at least the partial TP is at 3042. Yeah, that's where support resistance is. That's the closest round number, 3042. And then you can hold the position. If we do come further down, that's fine, but you want to take partial positions there. Now this candle needs to close. We're still waiting. We've got another 4 minutes for the candle to close. If it closes, let's go. If it closes bearish and if it closes below 3050, we can't take sells. We have to look for two M15 breaks. This one broke this, and this one broke this. Oh, this one also broke this. Yeah, sorry, this one broke this. This one broke this. Yeah. So we can take. Yeah. See, we broke the 30-minute low, just as I said. We broke below that because there's no bottom. There's no bottom wick on that. Price can drop here. Yeah, we can drop to 3042, even to 3040. But you got to wait for the candle to close. You got to wait for the candle to close. 3 minutes more. 593193. Stop loss, if the candle closes here and the pullback you get, take sells from about here. That's about 100 pip move down, 120 pip move down. Stop loss has to be just above that, so that's about a 35 to 40 pip stop loss. Just above that. This high, 593. But it's got to close below 3050. If it doesn't close, then don't take the sells. I repeat, if it doesn't close below 3050, don't take the sells. Because that means the 15-minute hasn't closed below 3050. You want to see at least a 15-minute close below 3050 to take sells to come down, at least. Because if it closing below a level means there's a better likelihood of price, the next one pulling back up and then pushing down, breaking the low and continuing. If we close above, that means we're tapping that area for possible liquidity and we're rejecting that area to push up, right? Hope that makes sense. Let's see what numbers are they expecting. We got about a minute and a half. They're expecting bad numbers. They're expecting bad numbers. Yeah, price should push up. Price should push up, but we might come down for a liquidity grab to collect some liquidity before pushing up. But we should be pushing up. They're expecting bad numbers, and I think it should be bad numbers. So the move should be up, but I would like to see price come down, create support, and then we're able to take the buys to go up. Because if we push up straight from here, there are no buys for me. I can't take buys. There are no buys for me. Yeah, there's no buys because we're in supply. I can't buy when price is in supply. Price has to break above this to get rid of this zone. The 30-minute candle has closed above. If you close back below, we can take those sells. Let's see. I don't think we're going to close below. Doesn't seem like it. Let's see. Let's look at the 1-minute candle. Yeah, spreads are widening. 12 seconds. We closed above. 30-minute candle closed above. No, I'm not taking sells. No sells. Might come down, but I'm not taking sells. No. I wanted that if that candle had closed below, that would have been a better confirmation because it's a heavy bullish trend, right? So the market is against you. So when the market is against you, you need to have more confirmations, right? To stack those odds in your favor to take the trade. So if the 30-minute of the had closed below, that means the 15-minute also would have closed below. I would have been willing to take this pullback, tapped exactly what where we said it would tap, right? 3059, 3051.93, tapped it to the pip, perfect. But this candle didn't close below 3050. If it closed below, yeah, a tap, I would have taken this sell, stop loss there, about 35, 40 pips, and anticipate price to drop to 3042 and then 3040. We might come there, but I'm not taking those sells. Yeah, it was uh, the numbers were as expected. It's no surprise. There was no. It was exactly just 225 was expected. 224. So it's the same thing. So there is no. Um, this is, anyway, this is a no. This is not an important news event. I said there was no news this week. So this is not an important news event. We were just waiting for the news event before we took a trade, right? So price should continue in the direction it's heading, which is in an uptrend. But for me to take a buy, which is what I want to do, price has to pull back and create support, and it has to come. Either price has to break this, so we get rid of this zone, and then it pulls back, and I take a trade, or price pulls back now, creates support, and then I take a trade. But I can't take a trade inside a supply zone. I can't take a buy trade inside a supply zone. That I can't do. That and the reason for that is if you're not a supply demand trader, that goes against the laws of supply demand. It's as simple as that. The laws of supply demand. The purpose of the three laws of supply demand is um, that you look to buy in demand and you look to sell in supply. Okay, we're going to have to wait for, see, price is pushing up. It rejected 3050. We grabbed liquidity under the 30-minute candle and we're trying to push back up. Now again, I'm still, I'm open to the idea of taking sells. We've formed 30-minute resistance. That's a tradable 30-minute candle, but I need to see at least a 15-minute candle close below 3050. Like I said before, at least a 15-minute. We have 30-minute resistance formed, so that's fine, but at least a 15-minute candle needs to close below 3050. Okay? All right. I'll be back in a few minutes because we have to wait for the 15-minute candle to close, which is about 9.5 minutes from now. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we got about 6 minutes for the 15-minute candle to close. Let's see where this candle closes. Yeah, we've tapped 3047. 3047 we've tapped. So that's the minimum for the cells, and we've tapped that. That's the minimum area for these cells to come down. That's the minimum. So it's tapped the minimum. So if price closes down here, uh, it should pull back up. And then we can come down maybe here. Yeah, we got 30-minute resistance, but I'd like to see a 15-minute candle close below, as I said, below 3050, and then we take the trade to come down. But if it drops now, then there's no sells. Then we just have to wait for support to be created to take the buys. Yeah. So let's see where this candle closes. Yeah, if we close, then price needs to pull back first, and then we should come down to these levels here. See these 15-minute candles, so that's 49 pips. So there is volume. It's 50 pips. There is volume. Yeah. This is the news candle. So the news candle is 49, that's 48. So there is volume. But we need confirmation. We want to see a close below, pullback, maybe an entry at 3050. Yeah, we have a close, 15-minute close below this. Can take sells. I want to see a pullback. I want to see a price pullback first. Yeah, I want to see a pullback because this is a weak bearish close. More bottom wick than top wick. It's yeah. This is so. Let's see. I want price to pull back above this high, above the 30-minute high to take sells. 305205, right? That's above that is where I'm willing to take sells, not below. Yeah, above that. Because as I said, I've said this several times. When you're taking a counter trend trade, right? You want to have a smaller risk, as small as possible. You want your risk to be as small as possible, right? So if your risk is small as possible, following price action, not just random low risk, but following price action. If it makes sense and if it's a very logical way of thinking, if your risk is small, then the RR on that trade is going to be big as well. It's going to be big, right? So that's what you want to do because remember, this is a counter trend trade. The market is against you in this trade. We should break this high and come higher, maybe towards here. Yeah, this close 139. Oh, sorry, 294. Yeah, that's a 29 that I'm willing to take. I'm willing to take a trade there. Maybe if you come above here, break the 30-minute high, I'll take a trade as well. And maybe one up here. So it's a very tight TP. This TP is about 10 pips. This is less than about, yeah, this is about under 30 pips, 29 pips. That's fine. That's good. And stop loss is above the, basically your stop loss is 3056. That's your stop loss. And your TP levels are down here. Yeah. Because this close is not convincing. We closed below, but it's almost at 3050. Yeah, I want price to come up. If it doesn't come up and it moves down, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It's got no problems with that. If you push down now without entry, that's okay. Don't have to force a trade. You don't have to, especially when you're taking a counter trend trade. Don't try to force a counter trend trade. Wait for price to get to you. If it doesn't come to you, if it moves without you, that's absolutely okay. The when you stop, a lot of one of the biggest issues with retail traders are they chase price, right? They feel that they're missing out. Uh, they see candles showing them that a move is happening, and they're probably right. The move is happening, right? It's going to happen the way they feel it would happen, or the way they see, the way they analyze it. It's probably going to play out, right? There's a high chance that it's going to play out. So when they're not in that trade, they feel that they're missing out and they want to chase price. And that becomes a habit, right? When it works, it's fine. It's great. So when it works, then you start forming a bias. You start forming a bias thinking, oh, it did work. My analysis is correct. So you don't wait for price to come to a certain level. You chase price and you have a winning day, right? And then you start psychologically start forming a bias. Okay, yeah, I did that. It's correct. I was right. So you see the next time, uh, you do it again, and then after a while, that becomes a habit, and then uh, you're relying on the fact that you won, right? Taking trades in a certain way, you won, and your reliance on your analysis goes down or depreciates, and you start relying on the fact that you won a trade, right? You had a winning trade. You entered wherever you entered, and you have had a winning trade, and then that becomes a habit, and that habit turns into a bad habit, and then you start doing that over and over again, and one day that turns out to be a big loss, and then you can't believe the fact that you had a loss, and then you want to recover that loss, right? And you double down on your risk, and you do it again, and then you have even a bigger loss, and before you know it, you've gone through 50% of your account, right? So that is why you got to keep your emotions aside. You got to have strict rules, especially when it comes to entries, um, and risk management. In these two aspects, you've got to have very strict rules, right? Like I want to enter only above this candle. That's fixed in my mind. I'm not going to enter below that, right? Because this is a counter trend trade, right? I don't want to have a 50, 60 pip stop loss. I don't mind having a 20 pip, 25 pip, even 30 pip stop loss. I'm okay with that. Not a 60 pip, not a 50 or 60 pip stop loss, because it's a counter trend trade. So I'm willing to wait here. If it doesn't come up here and price pushes down here, okay, that's fine. But that's my habit. Now that has become my habit. So rather than chasing price becoming my habit is that when I'm taking a counter trend trade, I'm going to wait to get the best possible price on my trade, right? And these areas make sense, right? I'm waiting for price to break the 30-minute candle high, right? This M30 high, I'm waiting for this current candle to break its own high or the next one to break its high. If it breaks its high, then I'll get my entry. If it doesn't and price drops down, that's fine, right? That's okay. And also, the other reason is there is a perfect 5 minute supply zone here. You can see a rally, you can see some basin candles, you can see a very clear drop. So that's where my first entry is. That's where I would like to get my entry, right? My best entry would be there, or even further up here, somewhere around uh, 3054.5, right? Those are my best entries, right? Those are best price for me. As per my plan, those are my best price, and I'm willing to wait there. And if I get those entries, then will have a very tight stop loss on on a counter trend trade, on a heavy bullish market. I'll be taking sells with a very tight stop loss. And if price does move down to where my TP levels are, then I would have very high RR, right? If we had, if it was similar to yesterday, if you remember yesterday's trade that we took, right? If you were here and you remember yesterday's trade that we took, then we had the London high. And I said, wait for a 30-minute candle close below the London high. That shows clear rejection of the London high, and we're going to push down. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. We had a London high here. All right, this was the London high. Price closed below it, 30-minute resistance formed. We closed below that, and we pushed down. We don't have a London high here. If we had a London high, it would have been another layer of confirmation. That's what I'm trying to say. It would be another layer of confirmation. We don't have that. We have the London high down here, right? Because price has been very bullish in the London session. So it hardly pushed. So the London, in the first 3 hours of the London, three and a half hours of the London session, we did not make a swing low. We couldn't make a, we tried. It's a very small swing low, right? You were asking me yesterday, I think, Philip, if you're here, you were asking me yesterday what a swing low, swing high was. This is a 30-minute swing low, right? This is a 30-minute swing high, right? It's a swing high. This is a swing low, right? Here you can see a very small swing high and a very small swing low. But nevertheless, that is what we have, all that we have in the London session. We don't have anything more than that because the market was too bullish. So we just pushed straight up. Look at that move, 285 pip move up. Still nothing. We 15-minute candles volume has died down. It's 3 minutes the candle closed and we just have a 27 pip candle. So this is this candle formed in anticipation for news. It's obvious now, right? This was the news candle, 15-minute candle. That's almost a 50 pip candle, I think. Yeah, 49. Yeah, let's say that's a 49 pip candle. That's the news candle. This candle formed before that in anticipation of news because the news move was likely already fed into the market. So the move was down and it pushed down. So this was in anticipation of that move down, right? But right now, after that, after the news move, we have no volume. This candle is just 28 pips. And we got about 2 minutes for the candle to close. So there is no volume. Want to see a clean, clear close. Now, if this closes like this, if we close below, strong bearish close, it has to be a strong, not a doji, a strong 15-minute bear close, then I might be willing to take a trade here. Because then we have confirmation, but it's got to be a very strong bearish 15-minute close. Like I said at the beginning, this is not a convincing close. This 15-minute closed, but it closed more at 3050 than below it, right? It's just like a pip or so, a couple of pips, a pip and a half below that. So that's not really a close below, right? It's a close at. I would consider this a close at 3050 and not a close below 3050. But if we have now, if we have a strong 15-minute in the next minute and a half, if this candle pushes down here and we close at least at 3049, then that's a stronger close below. Then I might be willing to take a small position from here, anticipating a move down. Stops will still be there, but I'm going to manage risk obviously on that trade. But a smaller position here. But it's got to be a strong close at 3049. And it's got just a minute more. I don't know what that's going to happen in the next minute. But we are coming down though. Let's see. Yeah, it seems like if we close 3049, right? So let's put a mark there. 3049 is what I want to see. Closer towards 3049, right? You can see a rejection there. So we don't have nothing yet. We're trying to close back above 3050. We're pushing up. It's probably going to close a doji. Yeah, we're closing back above 3050. It's nothing. That's a doji. Bullish doji closed back above. There's nothing to do. There's no sells for me. Price could come down. I said that. So price can come down all the way here. But I'm not going to chase price. I want to see, as every candle closes, I want to see more. I want to see more confirmations uh, to take a trade in the direction that I want to take a trade, right? So that's why with this candle, I want to see, okay, a close. At least if you close here at 3049, then maybe I can take a trade at 3050, anticipate a move. But it didn't close back above, right? So there are, I need to, there are two stacks, right? One is, do I take a trade? One is, do I not take a trade? So I need to add the stacks. I need to add the probabilities in my favor of taking, and that stack has to be higher than to not take a trade, if that makes sense, right? So this is don't take a trade because we closed a doji. It's not a clear close below 3050. It's a doji. We don't have a convincing 15-minute close below 3050 yet. We have 30-minute resistance form, but then this 30-minute candle closed at 3050, right? So I'm still waiting. But as I wait, I'm also uh, thinking of the possibility where price will come down, create support, and then push up. Because in the what we have here is a new high, right? So this high is 588, this high is 593. Yeah. So we have a new high in the NY session. This is a new high. NY session has created a new high. This high is broken this high, right? So we have a new high. So I'm the market is bullish, very bullish. We are far away from the EMAs. So I still have that idea. The buys are is still in play. So while I'm waiting for candles to close in my direction to take a possible sell, I still have the idea at the back of my mind of taking buys. We formed a new high. I'm waiting for that pullback, 15-minute or 30-minute support to form to take the buys to come and retest the high and go further up, right? I'm still waiting for that. But I can't take buys here. It buys because price hasn't broken out of the supply zone yet. We're still inside it. If this candle had crossed it, then yes, I could got rid of this supply zone and then taken, if you have form support here, take the buys to go up. But we can't because price is still inside the supply zone. We haven't broken through. We've broken through the liquidity candle, but that doesn't mean we can buy because price hasn't broken through the supply zone yet, right? This is a 4-hour supply zone based off this, right? We haven't broken above this high yet. We should be pushing down. Should be pushing down. I've still got my entries here. 3053 and then 30, roughly 3055, 3053 and 3055, roughly at those areas. If the price comes there, I'm still willing to take the sells because we have a tradable 30-minute candle that formed resistance that closed, so I'm still willing to take those sells. But it has to come above 3052. This is a 30-minute candle high, 3052.05. I want price to break that high, come above to take sells. As I said, because I want a tighter stop loss, right? 29, 30 pips on this one, and maybe if it comes up here, 10 pips on this one. Yeah, we should be pushing up now. We've got a strong bull candle close. 5-minute bull candle should come up here. Remember, stop loss 3056. Yeah, there we go. We came up. Okay, I'm going to take a sell there, just above 3052. And if you come to 3053, I'll take a sell there. So now we broke the 30-minute candle high. I was waiting for that. I think price is going to come higher, very likely, because this is a 40 pip move up, so we should be coming higher. Should be coming deeper. $3042. That's about 100 pips if we come there. It's a 100 pip move down. So I entered just above above this level. It was 3052.05. I entered at about 3052.1. Top of that, right? Exactly where we had this price level mark, 3052.05. Price tapped it and it's dropping. Let's see. But I think we are going to come higher. I think we should push further up. Now, how am I going to manage risk on this? Right? Once you enter a trade, that's the next thing. That's the first thing that you got to think of. Once you enter a trade, right? Hopefully you've entered it. You waited for price to come to your area, and you've not, uh, you know, randomly chase price and take and open the trade. So if you waited for price to come to where you want it to come to take a trade, then if price goes against you, if you go in drawdown, the first thing you got to think of as soon as you open a trade, how do I manage risk? How do I lose less? How do I lose less on this trade, right? So let's look at this very objectively. Okay, very simple. This is the liquidity candle. If a 15-minute candle closes back above the liquidity candle, right? You can see it closed above once, immediately closed back inside. If it closes back above, then it's very likely that the next one is going to break the high and go past 3056, right? It's very likely that that's going to happen. If we close above the liquidity candle, you can see the liquidity candle, we closed at it, below it, then we closed one candle closed above, immediately closed back inside. So if another 15-minute candle closes above the liquidity candle, which is 3053.4, right? Roughly 3053.4. If we close above, let me put a mark there. Okay, so if we close above this price level, 3053, if a 15-minute candle closes above 3053.4, then the next one's going to break the high. Very likely, the next one is going, price is closing now against you. And very likely the next one is going to break the high and continue deeper and probably hit your stop loss, right? Very likely. So that's how we're going to manage risk. That's how I'm going to manage risk on this trade. As I said, the moment you take a trade, that's the first thing that you got to think of. How do you manage risk? 714, 716. Yeah, we got to break this low, this 30-minute low. This low is 714 and this low is 716. Yeah, we haven't broken this yet. Yeah, this low has to be broken. 716. Once a 15-minute candle closes below this, you're good to push down. Because this is the rejection. This is a significant candle that pushed up because that's rejection. So you want to see a 15-minute candle close below it for price to push down to 3040. Okay, we're gonna have a TP at 3040. That's about 120 pips from entry, a little over 120 pips, right? You want to see a 15-minute candle close below this. So 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes for the 50-minute candle close. Once we close below this, we're good. We're coming down. I hope you guys took these cells. I've been speaking about these cells for the last 40 minutes or so. Yeah, probably longer. If you are in the cells, remember, take partial positions at 3042. There's a reason why I have marked 3042. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, that's where we have resistance, right? We have here resistance. Let me just zoom in. We've got resistance here, support resistance level 3042 on the 30-minute time frame also. You'll see that level there. You can see the number of touches there, right? Here. Okay. So take partial positions, at least 50%, 40, 50% of your position at 3042, and then you can leave, take a few off at 3040, and then eventually come down to the EMA maybe here, 3037. Yeah, 3037. So those are your areas. Take 40% off at 3042, then a bit more off at 3040, and then you can leave some for 3037. Okay. If you drop there, that's a 150 pip drop. This is the first level of level of support here. It's a minor support level, and this is a deeper pullback and a rejection. 3042. So we'll wait at 3042. We're gonna wait at 3042. Now that's a clear close. That's a very nice rejection. Look at that. That's the kind of candle I wanted to see here. Either here or here or here. Now we have it. It's formed now. That's a lot of volume, right? That's a 72 pip candle. Now if there's a pullback, I'll probably take another entry. That's volume. 72 pips, 73 pips, that's volume. Let's see if you get a pullback, I'll take another entry. If you get a pullback here, take entry. Yeah, the price needs to pull back at least here for me to take another entry. Yeah, see, that's we had marked 3049. That was the close that we wanted. It closed well below 3049, the 15-minute candle, right? That's what we wanted to see. Now we should be pushing down. We grabbed liquidity just above the 30-minute candle high. That's what we were expecting. Anywhere above the 30-minute high. It could have gone deeper or just above it, as long as it goes above it, right? That's why I had marked 3052.05. So it went above it, grabbed liquidity, and we're pushing down towards 3042. I would like to see a bit of a pullback to take another entry, but may not get it. Back to 3049, and then take a trade to come down. Yeah, you want to take partial positions here when we tap 3042. I'm going to hold for 3040. But you can take about 40% off at 3042. 35, 40%. And then you can hold, take another 10, 15%, 20% off at maybe another 20% off at 3040. Maybe even 25%. It's up to you. There we go. Tap 3042. I'm just move my stop loss to break even, and I'm going to hold for 3040. Get rid of these pending orders. And that's the sales for today. So the reason for 3042, I've explained it already. The reason that that is the minimum area that price needed to come to was because we have resistance there, right? Clear 30-minute resistance there. You can see that, the number of taps. And the next is 3040. The reason for 3040 is because that's the 30-minute candle that formed, and the open of the candle, there is no bottom wick on that candle, so price can tap it and push back up. So that is why the next TP level is 3040, and that's about to be tapped right now. Just there. Just there. Another 3 pips. There we go. Done. Those are the sells for today. So if you are still holding, hold for 3037. If you're still holding some position, you probably would have taken off something at 3042. You've taken off something at 3040. Now hold about, let's say, another 25% or 20-25% for 3037. So that trade that I took was just over 120 pips. The stop loss was about 35-37 pips, but we were going to manage it at 3053.5. So the stop loss would be about 15 to 20 pips at the most, right? Because that's where we were going to manage it, 3053.4. I spoke through everything, how we were planning to manage risk, why the entry was here, here, and above there. Those are the 3 entries that were placed, why those entries were there, where the TP levels are, why the TP levels are where they are. I explained through everything, right? And those are the cells, and they played out. Done. That's it. Now, as I said, we spoke about this at the beginning. We are in a very bullish market. This is possibly, there are no certainties in trading. This is possibly a liquidity grab. Price is coming down to grab liquidity to push back up, right? Because there's been a clean move outside of the London session, outside of the London open hours, right? This is the London open move, and this move is outside those hours, right? We spoke about this. This is outside. That is why I have the London high here. Okay, that's why we have the London high here. This move up happened outside the London hours, and that's the move that is retracing back. It's retracing that move, right? So you want to wait. If you want to take buys, wait for 30 minutes support to form. Now you got to wait for 30 minutes support, not 15 minutes support, because price is moving bearish now, right? We're pushing, even though the high time frame is bullish. On the 4-hour, we see a bullish move. We are rejecting 3050, and price is moving bearish. So you got to wait for 30 minutes support to form. Do not take a buys without 30 minutes support forming. Again, 30 minute support has to form, and it's got to be a 30-minute. Sorry, who's calling me? A 30-minute tradable bull candle needs to close. So either it forms support and closes. You see a 30-minute bull candle close, right? Or after 30 minutes support forms, let's say you have a bullish doji that closes, forming 30-minute support, then wait for a tradable 30-minute bull candle to close to take the buys. Wait for the pullback, take the buys. And that can happen now, that can happen, very likely going to happen after the 4-hour candle close, right? Very likely. The 4-hour candle is going to close. Yeah, it's not going to happen now. There is 34 minutes for the 4-hour candle to close, so it's likely going to happen after that. It's not going to happen now. If it happens, it's going to happen after that. It's not going to happen now. Because right now, this is the NY move down. We have NYSE open in about 4 minutes from now. So the move is going, if there is a bullish move today, it's going to be, it's not going to be an NY open move. Obviously, it'll be a NYSE move. So which means you're going into the latter half of the NY session, right? It's a move that's possibly going to happen in the latter half of the NY session. So there's a lot of time if for that setup to play out. If it is to play out, there's a lot of time for it to play out. So don't in a rush now that if you have taken sells, don't try to now jump in and try to take buys. Candles are closing against you. If you're trying to look for buys, you can't. You can't take buys because candles are closing against you. Price is moving against you. You got to wait for a higher time frame confirmation to take buys. So wait for that 30-minute support to form. Okay, that'll be the end of the streams as well. So we took sells yesterday, we took sells today. Yeah, we're getting close to 2 hours. So that's the end of the streams. And it did hit our TP level 3040. It could drop down further, but 3040 you should have, by 3040 you should have taken at least 75% of your position off. By the time price got to these two TP levels, you should have taken about 75% of your position off and maybe hold another 20% as a runner. I always say not more than 20% as a runner, right? 20% is, is a good amount of percentage. 15, 20% is a good amount of percentage to hold if you want to hold a runner. But stops at break even, obviously, and then you hold a runner, 20% or 15%. But by your first and second TP levels, 75 to 80% of your position should be off the table. Okay, so that'll be the end of the stream. So again, there are no more sell ideas. This was the sell idea that I took live on the stream, just as we did yesterday. This was the sell idea. The setup that I'm giving for the next 2.5 hours. So now it's NYSE open, right? This is the NYSE open. In a minute and a half is the NYSE open. So that's 9:30 a.m. EST. So from 9:30 a.m. EST till about 11:30, 12, right, noon EST is the time that you need to be, if you are at the charts, if you're going to be trading or if you're going to watch just the charts, if you're not trading and just want to watch the charts, that's fine. If you want to take a trade, what you need to be looking for are buys, not sells. I'm not giving out a sell idea. I'm giving out a buy idea, just like I did yesterday. It's a buy idea, buy setup, right? Wait for 30 minutes support to form. We've come very close to the liquidity candle. We could form 30 minutes support here, or we could form 30 minutes support at any one of the liquidity areas. These are your liquidity areas, right? High liquidity candles, BRNs or psychological round numbers, weekly support resistance levels, and the EMAs, right? So there's an EMA right here that prices come very close to, just about 8-9 pips from that EMA. We could form it here. We could come to the liquidity candle and form 30-minute support. Then we have another EMA down here, right? And then once we break this liquidity candle, we're coming down further to the next liquidity. That's another 60 pip drop, right? 59, 58, yeah, it's another 60 pip drop. And then if we come there, we're very likely going to touch 3023 yet again, if we get there. But there is a lot of liquidity levels to get through before we get there, okay? EMA, liquidity candle, EMA again, and then liquidity candle, and then weekly SR. Okay, so you want to take buys today. That's the buy idea. That's the setup that I'm giving out. Wait for clear 30-minute support to form, a tradable 30-minute bull candle to close, and then the pullback, just like I did that. If you watch the first, after the analysis, no, the first 10 minutes of the stream, if you watch, we did a recap of yesterday's buys. If you watch that, that's the same thing that you want to be looking for to take today. And if you want to enter the way I enter, then once you see 30-minute support form, go down to the 15-minute time frame, look for the most recent lows to be taken out, draw your fib. We've spoken about this many times, how we draw this fib. Draw your fib and then place your entries. Your stop loss would always be, the safer stop loss would always be under the liquidity candle low if it reacts to a liquidity candle. If it reacts to an EMA where there is no liquidity candle, then your stop loss must be under the 30-minute candle low, under the 30-minute candle low that created support, right? If it reacts to a liquidity candle, then the safer stop loss is always under that liquidity candle low, right? And your TP levels would be, for the buys, would be above this liquidity candle because price has already gone through it. So you're going to be pushing past it. So your TP level would be 3054, right? You can take partial positions at 3050. Okay. So for buys, your TP levels would be partial positions at 3050, then 3054, and then higher, but we don't know where higher, right? Because there is no price action to the left. Okay, right. Those are the buy ideas. That's a buy setup for the next 2 to 2.5 hours. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of the week. We will, again, as I said, if you were here at the beginning of the streams, we're going to look at the weekly candle, how the weekly candle could possibly close, and then anticipate and then predict the daily candle, and then take hopefully have a trade. Hopefully, we can take a trade off the low time frame, right? Like we do usually at the end of the week. All right, see you guys tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. Take care.